Some paying customers aren't getting the full value from your product. And if they're using less than, say, 30% of the key features, they may be at risk of disengaging with the product and eventually churning. In today's video, we're going to talk about how you can spot low adoption accounts, how to engage them beyond the standard outreach, and how you can find the right person to connect with to make the biggest impact. Welcome back to Marketplace Growth by Accoil. My name is Pete Preston, and I'm joined by Kate Caldicott. As always, how are you, Kate?
Really good, everyone. Hello.
So we're talking about adoption and really segmenting your customers. How are you going to keep them around? You're going to start by filtering accounts that aren't fully engaged. As Wayne McCulloch says, he's the author of that 7 Pillars of Customer Success book, basically says you codify these into segments, or what you might call red account customer programs. You're looking for things like feature usage that is under 30%. They're definitely not seeing the value. They're active, they're paying. These are the ones that you want to help. There are some other ways that you can chop and change your customers here. But if you have thousands of these accounts, do you have a big enough team to engage everybody? Probably not. What we're talking about here is how you prioritize and segment these customers into high value accounts, mid-tier accounts, and long tail accounts. What, Kate, would you say is a quick way to spot an account that is at risk?
So we're kind of talking about product usage risk, that, for example, they're logging in, but they're not using the product as much as they normally would. I mean, the ones that are not logging in at all, well, they're pretty easy to spot. They may not be showing signs that they're not using your workflow. And so for me, they're the sort of red letter events that you'd be looking at. There are other things that you can look at. They're getting repeated bug experiences. For me, it's all about product usage and the habit that they are building in how they use your product. Keep it pretty simple, and that way you can kind of focus quite nicely.
So if we move on to, say, step 2 here, we've established that we're going to segment our customers. Take us into the next step here. What are you going to do as far as engagement with these customers goes?
You know, there's the things that kind of everybody's now doing. And so it's your in-app messaging, your automated email sends at particular times, or things where they've done that gets triggered, or sending them success stories, et cetera, et cetera. So there are things that everybody's doing, which is great. And they're probably, you've got to get up to that level. But then the next step is saying, okay, well, how do we think about this a little bit more in a way that won't knock us over? So one of the ways that you can do that is that you can look through your customer base of customers that are actually using your product really well and which industries they work in, and you understand the types of use cases they're using. I would then take that and apply those learnings to those same like customers who are not using your product well, and then reapproaching that lot and saying, look, if you want to use the tool better, these are the use cases, and actually build coming that way of how you can be more useful rather than just sending these robotic emails. Now, remember, this is about your segment that you actually want to hold and keep, so you are prepared to invest in them. So it's almost the me too. Look what someone else looks like, and then try and apply it to those customers that where it's not working. And you don't just do this once, you keep doing it again and again and again. So you just keep showing up and showing that you care. So I think the future is about those who have genuine interactions, who give a damn, will be differentiated from those who you just know you're being spammed or automated away.
Yeah. I like that for a few reasons. One, that it's not just me as the product owner telling you that this thing's great. It's here's how people are succeeding with it, and they look a lot like you. You made a note of this before too, is, you know, it shows that you're actually paying attention, and it's not just this, you know, wait 3 days, send email 3, wait 4 days, send email 4. It's very much a tailored approach to keeping these accounts engaged and showing them the value, which brings us to the next point, which is making sure that you're actually talking to the right people and that you're identifying, say, the champions, the super users within these companies, who's using the product the most, who's the most invested in it, what's their experience been, and how can you help them become your internal champion? Anything around that? Like, how do you get the messaging right to those people? Maybe even take a step back. How do you find them in the first place?
Ideally, you have a tool that actually helps you that, and that's actually probably Accoil, but you can find them in a number of ways in terms of who signs up and through the sales process and how you identify that. So if you do find these people are actually gold, because they actually can give you the insights. So if they're using your product well, but other members in their world, the other employees are not using your product well, you can actually go to them and say, why do you think they're not using it well? You know, what do we need to do? What are they not getting? And it'll be in their interest for other people to use the tool, because that actually makes the tool a safe purchase. When it comes to renewal time, people will go, yeah, I'm using it. Okay, we'll keep it. If there's just one person in the room saying I'm using it, guess what? You'll do an account review. Simple as that.
Yeah, that is a good one. We can seed another video with that one, I think. But yeah, I think getting close to your champions is fantastic. You mentioned it before too, is like, how do you get your teammates involved in this and how do you make it valuable for them? Something we talk about often is making your customers the heroes. And this is definitely one way to do that if you're having those conversations with them. All right, well, I'll wrap us up there. So this whole process is about connections. You're identifying low adoption accounts. You're engaging with them at the right time with the right message. And of course, you're talking to the right people and you're doing this over and over again. I know we often talk about doing the boring things, and this is not necessarily the sexiest recommendation, but you're going to do this over and over again. And it actually builds the muscle and gets you used to talking to and finding the right people who can actually drive adoption at your key accounts. Of course, if your customers feel supported, they are more likely to stick around and actually use the product. So get in there, go figure out what those red segment accounts are, who you're going to talk to, and what your message is going to be, and you will have a much happier customer base. Anything to send us out with, Kate?
Other than more sales to you people. Till next time.
See ya.